in personal finance. I am about to start. I think I'm going to start. Looks like I've already started. I may be having a little issue. I'm trying to do something different. I'm using a little AI today to transcribe today's lecture. So I'm using Otter, and it doesn't look like it's working. So Otter is recording, but Zoom is not letting me open the meeting. And oh yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. It looks like maybe this will work. So let's see. I'm going to admit everybody. Welcome aboard. Hey there. Hope you can hear me. If you could please leave, if you're in the Zoom meeting, please leave a little, just chat in. Tell me if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hope you're doing well. Welcome. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Awesome. So we're going to talk about credit today. We're going to talk about the title of today's lesson is Credit Crush. So we'll get jumped in. We'll get started here in just a minute. Give everybody a chance to join. In the meantime, if you have any questions, now's a great time to pop those into the chat and let me know you have a question, and I'd be happy to spend some time, however much time we need, to make sure you get your questions answered. This Zoom meeting is once a week. It's summer school. You guys are getting hammered with homework, and you're doing a pretty good job keeping up with the homework, and I really appreciate that. Hopefully you feel like I'm doing a pretty good job keeping up with grading the homework, because it's a twice the challenge in the summer because we have twice as much homework. So again, this week you'll have 2 assignments. I'm going to talk about those assignments today. But most of the work that you're going to do this week, just like every week, is inside of Money Study Group. That's where you're going to get the content that you need to, score well on your assignment. And again, most of you have done a great job using the resources that are posted there. This week in particular with the Credit Crush assignment, because this week we're really getting into kind of the building out of your financial plan. And because of that, there's a good amount of content to help you do that, to make it very easy for you to do that. But obviously, it's not going to make it easy for you if you don't consume that content. So I think it's pretty well laid out. If you jump into Money Study Group, this week's assignment, this week's lesson in Money Study Group has lots of lessons. Each of those lessons is designed to help you with this assignment. So it's going to start out with a story about Billy and Sally. Usually I tell that story as I'm doing this lecture, but because we're in summer school, I'm going to just post a previous video of that lesson so that we can use our time here a little bit more efficiently, since we only have this amount of time together. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I want you to know that in your YouTube playlist, I've posted really a supplement, if you will, to today's lecture, today's meeting. And in that playlist, you'll have a video called Credit Crush Meet Billy and Sally. So you're going to have this video with the same title. Maybe I'll change the title, but this live stream right now that we're doing right now on YouTube and Facebook, and with those who are here in the Zoom meeting, this becomes a video that's in your playlist. But I just want you to know I posted an additional video there a few minutes ago, and I want you to watch that video. So don't just watch this Zoom video. This Zoom video is going to be more about the assignment, and I'm going to answer any questions you have and do a little preview, a little help. But most of your content, in fact, all of the content that you need to get a great score on this week's 2 assignments is all in Money Study Group. So if that's all you hear in this Zoom meeting, you're good to go. Go do your homework in Money Study Group and do the lessons there, all of that content is there to help you with this assignment. It's not a difficult assignment, but it's different because now I'm pushing you into your financial planning portal where you will do some work. So let's get started. It is 10:06. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to assume that we can just get going. And I'm going to basically preview the assignment and again point you to moneystudygroup.com where you will have access to the content that you need, much more content than I'm going to be able to give you today in this Zoom meeting. So to start with, this is the video that I posted. I think it's called Credit Crush, Meet Billy and Sally. And that is again in your playlist. I want to hit this playlist right here to see if that's where we go. No, that's a different playlist. So your playlist is a little different. And it should be the link that you have in Money Study Group will take you to your playlist. So I posted this article that you're looking at right now. This is on missionalmoney.com. I just posted this so that I could have it on my iPad so that you could see. I can show you, and this is the assignment basically. So by the way, before I get started in this week's assignments, plural, 2 assignments this week. You had 2 assignments last week. I haven't graded all of those assignments just yet because many of the students in this course have not, they didn't turn the assignments in by the time I went to bed last night. So anyone who, remember, if you turn your assignments in early, you get extra points. You get an extra 10 points. That's a 20% bump on your points. And I want to, again, encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity because not only do you get the extra points, but you get the benefit of having some feedback and an opportunity to correct anything that you might be missing if you turn the assignment in early. Now, please do help me. And if you're listening to this, what I'm about to say, I would hope you'll share this and group me. I will get students who turn in an assignment early and then they're missing something and I send it back to them and I say, you're missing this. Maybe I give them 15 points or 35 points or even, 20 points. Sometimes I really grade those down because I want to get your attention so that you can correct it. And then you need to correct it and resubmit it by the time the due date rolls around. So here's what happens though. When you resubmit that assignment, there's a little text box in Canvas for you to give me a note. Just like I give you notes when I grade your assignments. I give you little notes sometimes. Not always, but pretty regularly I'll pop in a little note to you. So you'll get a notification. It's probably an email and you'll see a note. If not an email, it's definitely in Blackboard. So here's the thing. Yes, Sudi, Friday is early. Friday by 3 p.m. The market closes at 3 p.m. Central Time. And early means by Friday at 3 p.m. Now, what happens, just so you know, is if I'm busy Friday afternoon, like this last Friday I had a lot going on. In fact, I had a lot going on Saturday. And so I didn't get around to grading until Sunday. So what happens? You win. If I am grading assignments for the first time each week on Sunday, chances are I'm going to give you the extra points if it's in the queue. So again, it's due Friday at 3 p.m. because that's when I like to carve out time to go and clean up all my work so that I can go have a weekend. That's what's in it for me. That's why we have this deadline for Friday at 3 p.m. But again, if I'm too busy or whatever and I don't get around to it until Monday morning, which is unusual, but that happens, chances are you will still get the extra points. So the moral of that story is turn your assignment in early. Always turn it in early. I learned early on in becoming a professor at the University of Houston, there are basically two kinds of students. Those who get things done on time or a little bit early, and the rest of us who wait until the last minute. And that turns out to be the most significant indicator of whether or not, of what kind of student you are in terms of the caliber of your work and the quality of your homework and your performance. That turns out to be one of the major, simplest, easiest way for me to know how serious you are or how committed you are or how effective you are. Now, again, I say, that distinguishes those A students from the rest of us, because I was never an A student. I was always average or below average when it came to school. I worked full time. And so anyway, all that to say, the reason this is set up the way it is because I know that the students who really want to get an A in this course, they're going to work hard. They're going to do what it takes. And so I want to make it easy for you. And I want to make it easy for me. And I know if you're turning your work in early, chances are it's better work. But that doesn't mean that the late students aren't turning in great work. Some of you are turning in awesome work, and you're turning it in on time, but you're missing out on those extra points. And so I just want to encourage you to put that little bit of extra effort in to get your assignments in early. It's a 20% bump. There's 12 assignments. That's 120 extra points if you do them early. So good. Thanks for the question. Anyway, I think I may have gotten distracted there by answering your question, Sudie. If I left someone hanging, let me know, chat in, and I'll answer your question. So let's talk about Billy and Sally. When you watch the video that I posted in your YouTube channel, your YouTube playlist, it's about a story about Billy. When I first started teaching this course, I met this young fella, Billy, and he had a Ford F-150 pickup truck. We met at the Firestone station, and he was buying tires for his truck. And he met this girl, Sally. She was the service manager, and she was really super good at her job. Billy came in to get some tires. He had this not old Ford F-150, but it was used. It was new to him. So I'm an old master mechanic. I take my car to the shop to do things that I don't like to do. In this case, I needed some transmission fluid changed. It's a nasty job. I don't like to do it in my driveway, so I took it into Firestone to get it done. That's where I met Billy. I had just committed to teach this course, so it was a long time ago, over 10 years ago. And I was curious, just to try to wrap my head around how you think, how young people think, And so I met Billy, and I'm just talking to him, and I'm thinking about this course, teaching students how to manage money. And so this young guy, he's interesting. He was working at a marathon station, living at home, and he happened to be working at not a marathon station, a marathon plant. And it just so happened at that time I had some vending machines. I had a little business, a vending machine business that I bought for my son, and it didn't work out with my son, so I was managing it, and I was going into this plant every day, not every day, but every couple times a week to fill up these machines with sodas and snacks and take the money out of the machines. And so I had this in common with Billy. But Billy was there to buy some tires, and he had a coupon to buy some tires that were on sale. And Sally, and you'll hear the whole story when you watch the video, but Sally upsold him, okay? And so what I discovered in watching this whole thing take place is that even someone like Billy, who's a frugal, kind of careful spender, because he was living at home, saving a ton of money, working at Marathon, and he bought this truck from his uncle. It was a great truck, and he was just going to get some tires, and he had a coupon to get the tires, but he ended up spending a lot more money because he met Sally, this super sales lady, who turned him on to wheels and upgraded tires with white letters, and they raised the truck. So I tell the whole story, and usually I tell the whole story piece by piece because I want you to understand the big idea in this lesson is about consumerism. It's about how we as consumers tend, in our culture, in the United States anyway, and it's I think it's human nature. We like to have stuff. And sometimes the stuff that we have, the cars that we drive, we will spend money to look good because nobody wants to look bad. And so one of the most expensive things we can do as consumers is to fall into the trap, the consumerism trap, that puts us in the mode of spending money just to look good. And that's kind of what I was watching happen with Billy and Sally. Sally was like, Billy, if you upgrade these tires and wheels, it will transform your truck. But what she was really saying to Billy is, you will be a cooler dude and you will be. And so they ended up dating, they ended up going out, and so they're together. And so now I have a financial plan for Billy and Sally, and I show you their plan in this video that I want you to watch. And I unpack how much money Billy ends up spending because he puts this on his credit card. So he ends up spending like $3,500 on these tires and rims and wheels, and he raises his truck and he does some work to it, and he spends like $3,500 on a 6-month same as cash deal. And so in this video, this story, I unpack all of those details, and then I take you right into your financial plan. And that's where the homework starts. Is I want to set it up so that you experience something similar to what Billy and Sally experienced when they started spending money. So I'm going to take this week the assignments, 2 assignments. You have 2 assignments this week, but they're really one assignment. It's really part A and part B. Call it Credit Crush, because I want to teach you how to manage credit. I want to teach you some debt management strategies, and they're very simple, but here's how it's going to work. For me to take you from the story of Billy buying tires, which is just to set the table, to introduce you to the idea of how credit works. Now that you've done your credit report, you know what your credit score is, you know what's involved in developing your credit score. That's all very good. But what I really want to nail home this week is the idea of consumerism and spending money and putting things on debt and how expensive that can be. And so that's really the point, the goal of this week's assignments, both of them, is to help wrap your head around not just how credit works, but how expensive it is to be a consumer. And so you're going to learn some debt strategies, ways to pay off debt that are going to be really powerful. The problem is, most of you, as I'm reviewing your assignments from your credit report, many of you have credit. You have student loans. Many of you do not. But most of you don't have a lot of other credit. And so what I've found is when you graduate, when we graduate, like when I graduated, we go spend money buying things that we think we need. And I sure did that. And I got in a lot of trouble financially, ended up kind of buried in debt. And one day, my wife showed me the credit card statement, and she showed me how much money we were spending on fees and interest. And at that time, I didn't pay my credit cards off. I paid the minimum. And so that was a long time ago, but that was how I learned about credit and the painful cost of credit. And that's really what I want you to learn this week. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to ask you, first of all, to set your birthday in your plan. You may have already done this. You probably already did, but you're going to be 10 years older, so that we're going to be looking at your financial life as if you're 10 years older, and as if you're earning the paycheck that you would earn if you get your dream job. So you're going to do a little research. You're going to update your financial plan, your income, with the amount of salary that you would have if you got your dream job. That's one of the things you need to do to prepare for the next several assignments, and this one in particular. So that's one of the things you're going to do, a little research. And I think we talked about that last week, but I want to make sure you know that's part of this week's assignment. You're going to have to do a little research. Looks like I've got someone trying to sign in. I'm not going to let them in because it's too late. So that's number one. Do a little research. That's in your assignment. You'll see that in Canvas. But the next thing I want you to do is just kind of update. Always, I want to remind you every week just to update the categories, the detailed expenses that you have in your plan. If you've linked your credit cards, and I know many of you haven't, and most of you may not want to, and that's fine. But if you do link your credit cards in your financial planning portal, it will create a budget for you, and then you don't really need to add the detailed expenses because it will take those expenses from your linked credit cards and just put them right into your plan. But most of you didn't do that, and that's fine. And so you just need to take a look, and every week I would say be thinking about the expenses that you're going to have in your life when you graduate. I just want you to start to think in terms of what's the real cost of living. Not today, because most of you have other funds coming into, and you're not seeing the cost. If you're living with your parents, for example, you may have no idea what utilities cost, or Wi-Fi, or phone, or insurance, or taxes, or maintenance. There's so many things that go into just basic cost of living that most of you just don't really get. And so I want you to start to get that. And the way I know that you're getting it is by looking at those detailed expenses and seeing that they reflect some sense of reality. And I kind of know what reality is because I've been around a long time. I've paid a lot of bills. And so that's something I'm going to ask you to continue to look at throughout the semester is your expenses. And again, we're pretending that you're 10 years older now. So you don't have the excuse of saying, I don't have any expenses because I'm going to college. I get that. That's why we've fast forwarded the clock 10 years to put you in a place where you do have now some real expenses in your life. And the assumption is going to be for everyone that you are now an adult and that you're now managing your own money. That's the key to this course. That's really a key for you to become prepared for doing that, for managing your own money. So this assignment, just like many of the assignments that are coming, will become part of your capstone assignment. And this one, you'll see why it's going to make a big difference in your capstone. Let me mention the capstone real quick. A capstone assignment is really like as if you, throughout the semester, build a comprehensive financial plan. And then we take that plan and we put it into one report or one article. And that article is going to have pictures, screenshots, right from your financial planning portal. And that capstone assignment becomes basically a report, a picture, an article that captures all of the essential elements in your financial plan. And one of those essential elements is going to be what kind of debt strategies did you apply to your imaginary credit? The credit, the debt that I asked you to add into your plan. So let's talk about that. There are 3 pieces of debt that I want you to add to your financial plan this week. And for this assignment to work, you've got to have some serious debt. So the first debt that I want you to have is your mortgage. So let's see. So you got your income. You're going to add that to your plan, but then you're going to start spending money, okay? And you're going to do that right away. You're going to go out and do a little research and find out, hey, based on the new annual salary that you have in your dream job, how much can you afford to buy a house? I want you to buy your dream house, the house that you can afford, not your dream house like the one you wish you could live in if you could afford anything. But I want you to figure out how much can you actually afford. And you're going to have to do a little research and convince me that you understand what the bank thinks you can afford. Okay, so you're going to have to do a little research here. And you're welcome to work together, work with a friend, work with somebody who's done this before. But you need to do a little research, because when you do your assignment this week, you're going to tell me, here's how much I spent on a house. And here's why, because this is how much of a house a bank would be willing to lend me. And here's what the bank is going to charge me in my mortgage. And all of that information is going to go into your data card for your mortgage. And you're going to see that in the assignment. You're going to see the details in that data card. And what I'm looking for is for you to pay attention to those details and to show me that you not only figured out how much could you afford when you bought a house, but also, did you actually understand the interest for the mortgage, the length of the mortgage, 30-year, 15-year, all of those details you'll see in the data card. And I want you to pay attention to those details, because you're going to add that debt to your plan. That's number one, your house. You're going to add debt to your financial plan, your house. Number two, you're going to buy that car that you've always wanted. So it doesn't matter to me what kind of car you want to buy. I recently bought an F-350 pickup truck. It's a 2006. I love Ford trucks. They're just well-built trucks, and I just bought one. And I got it for a pretty good price because it's 2006, but it works great. I got to drive it last week, Saturday, to move my 42-foot RV. It felt really good. I've never done that before. So anyway, you get to buy whatever vehicle you want to buy. But, I'm hoping you'll spend at least $25,000, get a new vehicle. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. But here's the thing. The whole purpose of these 3 pieces of debt that I want you to add to your plan are so that you can start to play with some of these debt strategies, and you can see in real life or in your plan how they actually work. And that's going to be a powerful aha moment for you, to see what happens when you change your strategy for paying off debt. So you need to have this debt built into your plan. It's a requirement. If you don't, but you can pick whatever car you want. You can get a Tesla, you can get a Lamborghini. But remember, if you start having too much debt based on how much income you have, at the end, your plan will fail. And then we'll be talking about, why did your plan fail? Why is it that your plan doesn't have any probability of success? So just be reasonable. I don't expect you to be an expert, but I do want you to be thinking about being responsible with your money. That's the point. And you're going to learn a lot this week in this assignment, these 2 assignments, about debt strategies. So the third piece of debt that you're going to add is a credit card. So you're going to have to do a little research. I want you to spend at least $10,000 using a credit card. So you're just going to add to your plan a credit card, and you'll see how to do that when you check out the content in Money Study Group. It's really easy to do, but you're going to have to tell your plan what kind of interest rate you have on your credit card. You're going to have to tell your plan what's the balance in your credit card. And then after you've added these 3 pieces of debt in your financial plan, then I'm going to turn around, and it's 2 different assignments, because you have 2 assignments this week. One is just to get all this stuff set up. And the next one is the fun part, where you actually then go into your plan and apply some different debt strategies so that you can see how they impact your plan. So that's where the lights come on. Okay, that's where you get to see and understand how much it costs to have credit. And then you get to see how much of a kind of a bang for your buck you get if you use different debt strategies to pay off that debt. So it's a really enlightening assignment. It starts with the idea of consumerism and just acknowledges the fact that we all like to spend money, and we tend to spend a lot more money than in a consumerism culture, check it out if you don't believe me. People are buried in debt. Even people that make a lot of money, the statistics are alarming how much people spend money that they don't have. And that's why we have the first law of personal finance, the law of spending and saving, which is spend less than you earn so that you can save more for what matters most. And that's really part of this week's dual assignment, is to recognize that it's very, very expensive to be a consumer. And so I'm going to ask you to be a consumer, to go all in and be a big-time consumer. Buy a house, buy a nice car, and put at least 10 grand on your credit card, and then go play around with the debt strategies to see how much that costs and how much you can save if you take a strategic approach to managing your debt and paying it off. And so that's what this week's assignments are all about. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask any questions you might have. I don't see any questions. I'm going to just go down here. And again, this is all in money study groups, so I'm just barely touching. You're going to have to go do some work this week. This is summer school, so I hope you're committed to doing some homework, because I'm trying to cover what I would cover in two lectures, and I'm not doing a very good job, but I'm trying to cover the high points. So this just basically, make sure you'll see what screenshots I'm looking for, but just for fun, you can see this is Billy, and he has this really cool toy. It's an F-250. I have an F-350, but Billy has an F-250, and this is a screenshot of the payments and interest for his truck. So if you look at and you'll have this in your plan too. This is part of what I want you just to be familiar with, to see, what it's costing. So in Billy's case, he's got a payment of, it looks like $3,000. His interest is $7,000. He has a $63,000. That's how much he paid for this truck, and it goes through each year. But the point that I wanted to make, and this is kind of the aha moment that my wife made me realize when I was spending money on credit cards and credit, and I was paying the minimum. This is really important. Paying the minimum, it's a racket. Credit card companies want you to pay the minimum. And so this screenshot right here is from Billy's plan. But I want you to look in your plan, and I want you to see what I really want you to discover is the cost of paying the minimum on your credit cards. So this is a car payment, but this screenshot kind of highlights that aha moment. So just pay attention to this for just a minute. Billy starts buying this truck, $63,000. By the way, I spent $18,000 on my Ford F-350. It's a 2006. It's a Lariat. It's got leather seats. Everything works. It's a beautiful truck. It had 140,000 miles on it, but it's a great truck. Everything's stock. I'm a mechanic, so I've done some work to it just to do a little upgrade. But anyway, my point is, you can spend a lot of money on a vehicle, and this truck, F-250, that's a reasonable price in 2022. That same truck today would probably be $80,000. They've gone up a lot. So he's got annual interest of $7,200. His payment is he's paying a minimum payment, but look at this. This is the key. This is what I want you to pay attention to. The ending balance. How much is the balance on this loan for this truck at the end of each year if he keeps paying the minimum? Do you see that? It's going up. And that's really when I tell you the story about Billy and his truck. When you watch the video, I try to take you inside of Billy's plan and do the debt payment strategy thing. And I try to show you that in his particular situation, when he bought those tires and upgraded his truck, and he walked in there with a coupon just to buy tires that were on sale, and he ended up, because he met Sally, the super sales lady, he ended up with all these upgrades, which was about a $3,500 bill, and he got this deal for 6 months, no interest. But what he didn't realize is at the end of the 6 months, if he didn't pay that full balance off, then he had to pay the interest for the whole 6 months. And because Billy and Sally started dating and he moved out of the house, got his own place, life happened, he kind of forgot his original plan was he was going to pay off that $3,500, still living at home, making good money. He was going to pay that off before the 6 months rolled around, but he didn't do it. And then he even missed a payment, which raised his interest rate. And so by the time you got to see Billy's actual credit card statement, it looked like a little bit like this. Smaller amount of money. This is a big ticket item. This is a big truck that you're looking at right here. But in the video, I show you that original purchase and then how he made another purchase and another purchase. And that's what happens. That's how people get buried in debt. So I want you to go get a little buried in debt just for fun so you can see how this works. That's this week's assignment. Okay, that's pretty much it. The credit crush. Any questions? I'm looking. Don't see any questions. So again, don't forget you got an extra video in your playlist. Check that out, and you'll get to see that whole story. You don't have to watch that video, but I would encourage you to watch that video if you want to see how you build your plan, because I go into Billy's plan and you get to see it. So if you're struggling with, building your own data cards, that's a good resource, that video in your playlist called Credit Crush, Meet Billy and Sally. That's a good video for you to watch. If you're not having any trouble, if you're finding this pretty intuitive, and most of you are, then you don't really need to watch that video, because it's more of a kind of how to build your plan. So many of you are doing a great job building your plan, and it's pretty intuitive. So carry on, and I look forward to seeing your assignments. Don't forget, if you turn them in early, Friday by 3 p.m., you get extra points, an extra 10 points, which is 20% of a bump on each of those assignments, so that by the time we get to the end of this short summer semester, hopefully you will have all the points you need to get an A in the course, and you'll have more time to go work on other classes that are more challenging than this. So hope that helps. Any questions? Speak up, or we're going to end it. Today was a short one because I tried to cover a lot in a few minutes, but mainly I want you to go and do the work that you need to do in Money Study Group. And if you have questions, first place to go is GroupMe. And if you go to GroupMe and you're finding that there's questions that are not being answered, then by all means, shoot me a text message or an email, and I will be happy to come in and give a little help. Otherwise, I'm staying out of GroupMe, and I'm assuming that you guys are helping one another there. You're doing a great job. You really are doing a great job, and I appreciate that. I know it's summer, and it's hot, and it's a lot of work, but it's summer school, and you chose it, and I did too. So welcome to summer school. We'll get through this. We're already getting through this. It's going fast. So, okay, I don't see any questions. I'm going to look and see. I don't see any chats. Chat. You're welcome, Sudie. Thank you. Have a good one. Okay, I'm going to go over here and end the broadcast if I can. I'm going to end the broadcast. So if you've been watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you. Don't forget to leave a comment. You're welcome to grab that screenshot and use it in your assignment for your class collaboration.